Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 17th of May, comes to you from London. And we're seeing quite a lot of green on the screen this morning, so markets are recovering a little bit, but the picture is still looking pretty bad overall for equities, bonds, and we're seeing the currency effects creeping in as well. So the dollar index has just fallen back from the 105 level. That was a 20-year high, largely driven by the heavy weighting of the euro and the yen. We're seeing the euro against the dollar down at 104. Did nudge 103.50 the last few days, so it really has been looking weaker and weaker all the time, much as we predicted. And looking at the yen, when just holding that 130 level. Sterling has fallen pretty heavily against the dollar over the last week or two, and we see these trends, and we are recovering this morning to the 124 level. We had a little upside target there. Remembering this is my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute chart, long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the market. So we are just seeing that dollar strength really coming through. Against the euro, sterling has been looking weaker, recovering a bit this morning. Did some nudge 116 last week, so we really did see sterling dipping there. And if we look at Bitcoin, that did fall below the 30,000 level. Most importantly, it did deactivate the upside target that we had off this thrust. So that's gone. So now it's hard to see any clear upside for cryptocurrencies based on that big fall from Bitcoin. And we are now through on the weekly clouds, meaning we are long-term bearish, medium-term bearish, short-term we are just a little bit bullish. The S&P 500 index was down last night, still looking weaker. We did nudge new lows. We are seeing this move lower, a little relief rally, but we've got big downside targets now, 12%, 14% lower from here. Little upside targets, but on the whole, we are seeing that the weaker market falling away. And the Nasdaq also now just breaking lower as well. Looking at that S&P 500 on the weekly cloud, we are just maybe finding support on the cloud, but the reality is we do have these downside targets, and the Nasdaq looking even worse. Downside targets here at 16, 23% on that longer term chart. So these falls in the market not done on the basis of the targets. We will see a little bit of recovery today. The future's looking a bit higher. The VIX volatility has pulled back into the 20s. Of course, the fear index above the 30s, we are fearful, but it is just edging up all the time. And we look at the FTSE future, that's up 0.4% today. The DAX in Germany up 0.7%, although that we're not nudging that March low, unlike the American markets. It is still bearish below the cloud, and of course we are starting to enter territory on the weekly chart, not looking so good either. Japan was actually up. The Hang Seng was up 3% overnight, so that's quite a strong showing, but not enough to really change the fact that the Hang Seng has fallen from around 30,000 to 20,000. So there's a massive third fall of about a third in the last year, so really falling away there. Chinese stocks were up, but again in bearish mode on those medium and long-term charts as well. The Sensex in India up 1.75%, but again, inflationary woes starting to be fearful there, and the Aussie market was up slightly as well. We'll look at the energy mix in a minute. Wheat prices have been in the news. India banning exports. Classic recovery pattern here, where we saw that spike, the fall away, and now we embark on another leg up. We've got a 13% target to aim for, so really quite worrying for wheat if you're a consumer, of course, and corn also breaking new highs as well. Gold has pulled back to 1824, so that's not looking so good. We are bearish below the cloud on the medium and short-term charts with some downside targets. The long-term charts still just holding bullish, and we do still have these long-term upside targets, but until we get back above the 1900 level, gold is not looking great. Similarly for silver, sitting at 2150, that is making now 18-month lows really. So we are just seeing that weakness in precious metals kicking in. Remember, in the long-term cycle for precious metals comes last. So whilst we're seeing bonds falling, then stocks falling, economic activity is next, then we're seeing commodities already starting to boom, and then we will see precious metals coming last. So looking at copper, That's looking a little bit stronger, just finding support on the cloud there, but medium term looking a bit weaker as well. This range, just watch for a breakout of copper. US 10-year yields falling back to 2.9%. We did nudge 3.25%. So this is still looking strong. We've got a target of 4.1% if we break to new highs on the yield, which is almost certainly going to happen. So we are seeing bonds prices looking pretty weak, yields looking strong. If we look at the German Bund future, we see here how we've just fallen away and collapsed, something we've been predicting for some time. Looking at the energy mix now, Brent crude is down slightly, but it is looking very strong indeed, activating that 148 target, remembering that we gave a target earlier in the year to 150. We are just seeing this break. Again, this recovery pattern, so looking very strong there. Looking at WTI, similar, and the spread between Brent and WTI has really closed in. US nat gas back above the $8 level. We've gone out in our report to clients this morning is bullish there, of course, as was yesterday. Upside targets winning the battle here. We've got much bigger targets for US nat gas longer term. Bob gasoline making new highs. That's been driven by the summer driving season and fuel just pushing to new highs there. So we're seeing record highs in diesel prices in the UK today. So this is all playing in to the energy spike. Coal also just looking stronger, looking set for a triangle break there on coal. So that's going to be quite interesting. Something we've been on the lookout for clients as well. And we are just going to see that pattern breaking higher. Emissions above the €90 mark this morning. We're out to clients this morning as bullish, giving the upside targets all in the 1 minute charts. So that's looking good. TTF is the story this morning, just nudging 4-week lows. We've got downside targets which we've given to clients in our report this morning, and MBP also down slightly, recovering off the lows at the opening, but still looking pretty weak. If we close below 90 on TTF today, that wouldn't be good news for TTF prices. Good, of course, if you're a consumer. Looking at German power, we are sitting at 227. No signs whatsoever this trend's going to end, and we've got some very big upside targets. So that's quite key as well. Keep an eye out on our reports there. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.